So many storylines heading into Fort Worth, but there can only be one lead story. And it's Eli Tomac versus Jett Lawrence. You know, there was a really good chance that we would have never said those words. Think back to the Denver Supercross 2023. Eli, on his way to the championship and assumed retirement, leading the main event in front of the home state crowd. Fate injected, and from overjumping an easy and common obstacle by what, a foot, he tore his Achilles. Still the most confusing moment I've ever experienced live in the sport, but it happened, and that torn Achilles changed the course of the sport. In many ways, actually, but one big one. Eli and Jett, 11 years apart, were not an expected crossover. A decade is a lot, and 3 different generations on the podium together is not normal. Eli and Jett were never supposed to happen. It was supposed to be Eli who wins Supercross, oldest to ever do it, kids on the podium, wave to the crowd, walk away, and then the freak show comes in and starts his run. Jett goes 450, goes perfect, and the Eli Tomac-Jett Lawrence duel is never even considered. Maybe a fun what if a decade from now. That's how it was going to happen. That was our reality. But that torn Achilles in Denver 2023 and the robbing of Eli Tomac's 3rd Supercross championship changed everything. The loss and the injury sparked a fire. I'm not going out like that. Not going out on the mule. I'm coming back. And I believe that the fate that was injected into the sport that night convinced Eli to come back in 2024 and eventually sign an extension for the upcoming 2025 season. That is what led us to the second moto battle at Charlotte. That is what leads us to today, and that is what will lead to an epic story in the sport's history. As fans of this sport, this moment needs to be appreciated. We are truly lucky. Eli Tomac versus Jett Lawrence. Let me explain. When you look back in time, we've seen generation battles before, a lot of them. I'll start with the era that I remember most vividly, the reign of the king. In 1993, Jeremy McGrath, like Jett today, looked different, rode different, and seemed to always have more than his challengers. That led to 7 Supercross championships, 72 wins, and the most dominating run in the sport's history. But eventually, it had to end. Someone had to stop the reign that ran the 90s, but it wasn't someone from his generation. It was someone new. In comes Ricky Carmichael, who had to figure Jeremy out, dissect his game, step up his, and he did. And those battles were epic. Jeremy and Ricky are 8 years apart, barely close enough in age to squeeze them on the same gate in 2000 and 2001. Jeremy could have walked, he had won everything, he was rich, and didn't need to fend off a new kind of challenger. But why would he leave? He was still winning, still the king, and because of that decision, the sport was blessed with a clashing of 2 titans and highlights that will last forever. Next up, Ricky Carmichael, who stacked the record books in a 7-year run of his own. But at the age of 27, he was over it. He'd won enough, he dethroned the king, fought off the psychotic speed of James Stewart, and said, "See ya, I'm out." And unfortunately, we missed out on a potential clash between Ricky Carmichael and Ryan Villopoto. RV is 9 years younger than RC, so if Ricky decides to keep going to 30 and Ryan moves up to the 450 class 1 year earlier, we get a 2 to 3 year run of this generational battle. Could you imagine these two in 2009 and 2010? The old legend Carmichael, the young phenom Villopoto, with James Stewart and Chad Reed in their prime? 3 generations on the gate in a dogfight? But it wasn't even close to happening. We've never even considered it. But age-wise, it was more likely to happen than what we're getting now with Eli and Jett. Ryan Villopoto took control in 2011 and would go on a nasty little run of his own, having to fight off James and Chad above him in age and Ryan Dungey below him in age. RV won 4 straight Supercross titles, put up some pretty crazy numbers fast, then like RC, bowed out early. 25 years old. Over it, walked away early enough for us to miss out on another epic duel of generations, the fight between Ryan Villopoto and Eli Tomac. They did race. It was 2014, Ryan's last season of Supercross, and he dominated. It was Eli's rookie season, and he was a mess. But get this. Eli was 21 years old. Ryan was 25. This one was totally possible in timelines, but they gave us nothing. Eli took a bit to get going. Ryan was gone way early. So no, unfortunately, this one didn't happen either. The Eli Tomac era would eventually begin, but not early enough to overtake Ryan Dungey and his 3-year run of championships. The Dunge hung in there to 28 years old and caught full steam Eli Tomac in his 4th year in the 450s at the age of 25. Only 3 years apart in age. The 2017 Supercross Championship was an epic battle that concluded at Sam Boyd Stadium, where Eli Tomac tried the bunching technique late in the main. It didn't work. Dungey won the title, but that was enough for Ryan. Have at it, boys. I got my titles. I'm out. But we got to see that, and it was good. Eli Tomac has compiled a legendary career, wild numbers, big moments, and the record for the oldest Supercross champion in the sport's history. Eli is different. And his story would be different if not for the terrible crash at Lakewood in 2015. And when you take into consideration that injury, plus the Dungey era, it explains why the winning was pushed back a bit. Remember, this guy won his first ever national at Hangtown, okay? He didn't need time to get going, but the injury and the dunge, well, he didn't win his first outdoor title until 24 and his first Supercross title until 27, the oldest in Supercross history, and the first dad to win the title. RC and RV were done by then, but because Eli didn't have crazy success early and enough wins and titles to just bounce, it was the opposite. He was just getting going. From 2017 to 2023, the numbers are ridiculous. With Ken Roczen and Cooper Webb as his biggest threats, he racked up 2 Supercross championships, the second most wins in Supercross history to the King, and 4 outdoor titles. His toughest? The 2022 Pro Motocross Championship against Chase Sexton, the next generation of speed. What a summer. What an emergence by Chase, taking Eli Tomac to the final moto in a very tight loss. That was Eli's breakaway point. Villopoto won and bounced. Dungey won and bounced. Eli could have called it, and nobody would have blinked. But no. He came back for the 2023 Supercross Championship to put one more title on the board, pass Ricky and James in main event victories, then walk off into the sunset. But that didn't happen. Denver, weird night, and a pivot. With a combination of unsettled business and apparent blindness, Eli watched Jett Lawrence go perfect in the summer of 2023 and said, yeah, I'd like some of that. What? Did you not watch? Eli, my man, are you sure? Well, he was, and he is. He came back in 2024, not ready, not the same, but he did enough to tell himself that if he could get right, he could beat this kid. What a warrior, what a legend, what a boss. And at Charlotte in Moto 1, the gate dropped and Eli Tomac took the lead and slapped donuts. It was such a rad race, especially being in person, a kind of chilling moment. The old bull did it, and he reclaimed his spot back on top. Then an hour later in Moto 2, Jett slapped back pretty hard, got the overall, and everyone went, oh yeah, forgot. But we would have never seen Charlotte if Eli didn't stick around. Moving forward, I think Jett is going to be just fine, and the reality isn't as shiny as we may hope. The odds are that Charlotte was an outlier, and that Jett is about to Jeremy these dudes. But as a fan, as someone who loves the storylines and loves the battles, a duel between these two phenoms, 11 years apart, is the best. Damn, this sport is sick. Now just think how sick it would be if Brian lets Hayden race 450 next summer at Paula. Tomac, Sexton, Lawrence, Deegan. 4 generations on the same gate. Come on, Brian. Thank you so much for watching the show. If you liked it, press the like button. And if you want to subscribe, then press the subscribe button. Share it with your friends, with your family, and grandma. Make sure you send it to grandma. Grandmas love everything Main Event Moto does. All you Motoheads out there, we are still rocking and rolling at Main Event Moto. You can go to patreon.com/maineventmoto. We do 2 shows a week now, and both of them are live streamed. Patreon.com/maineventmoto, and we will catch you on the next show.